and today we're diving deep into building those cannonball shoulders. But more importantly, we're exposing the mistakes that are holding you back. Because let's face it, who hasn't seen that guy in the gym with the oversized upper traps and underdeveloped shoulders? That, my friends, is not the aesthetic we're after. We're talking about building those perfectly balanced 3D shoulders that scream power and athleticism. And the truth is, so many guys are sabotaging their shoulder gains without even realizing it. They fall into the same traps, making the same mistakes workout after workout, and then wonder why their shoulders look more like pebbles than boulders. Well, consider this your wake-up call. We're about to break down the most common shoulder training mistakes and, more importantly, show you exactly how to fix them. Stick around, because if you're serious about building a physique that turns heads, you don't want to miss this. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive more expert tips and workout strategies. Alright, let's talk range of motion, people. Now, I see this all the time, especially with overhead presses. Guys loading up the bar, ego taking over, and they're doing these half reps, barely getting their elbows to 90 degrees. Listen, you're robbing yourself of gains, plain and simple. You see, when it comes to building those cap delts, you need to hit every single muscle fiber. And that means going through a full range of motion, every single rep. We're talking about lowering that weight all the way down, feeling that stretch in the bottom of the movement, and then pressing back up with power and control. Think about it. Why would you shortchange yourself on the very thing that's going to stimulate muscle growth? You're basically telling those delts, hey, only work halfway. That's all I need from you. No way. We're hitting every angle, every fiber, and we're making every rep count. So ditch the ego, lighten the load if you have to, and start focusing on quality, controlled reps with a full range of motion. Trust me, your shoulders will thank you for it. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the front delts in the room. Look, I get it, bench presses and overhead presses are staples in any good workout routine, but here's the thing, they heavily favor the front delts. And if you're not careful, you end up with this imbalance overdeveloped front delts and neglected side and rear delts. Not a good look. We want those 3D shoulders, remember? That means we need to give those side and rear delts some love. This means incorporating exercises that specifically target those neglected areas. Think lateral raises for those side delts, giving you that wide V-taper look. And don't forget about the rear delts. Face pulls, bent over rows, rear delt flies. These are your new best friends. Remember, balance is key. Don't just train what you can see in the mirror. Hit those shoulders from all angles, and you'll be amazed at the difference in your physique. Let me ask you something. Are you hitting shoulders after a brutal chest and triceps workout? If so, you're setting yourself up for failure. Think about it. Your shoulders are already pre-exhausted from all the pressing movements you did for chest and triceps. By the time you get to your shoulder workout, you're running on fumes. And what happens when you train a muscle group that's already fatigued? You guessed it, you lose strength, power, and intensity. Your form starts to suffer, and you're not able to push yourself to the limit. This means subpar results, my friends. So how do you avoid this? Simple, prioritize your shoulder workout. Don't relegate them to the end of a grueling workout. Hit them when they're fresh, when you can give them your all. Remember, we're training for growth, not just going through the motions. Chapter 4. Taming the trap takeover. Let's talk about those pesky traps, specifically how they love to take over during shoulder exercises. You're trying to hit those lateral delts with some side raises and suddenly you feel it more in your traps. Frustrating, right? Well, here's the thing, your traps are naturally strong muscles and they love to jump into action, even when they're not invited. But we need to put them in their place and make sure the delts are doing the work. Before you even start your shoulder workout, take a few minutes to stretch and mobilize your traps. This will help relax them and prevent them from taking over. Now, when you're performing exercises like lateral raises, focus on that mind-muscle connection. Visualize those side delts doing the work. Keep your traps down and relaxed. If you feel them creeping up, lighten the weight and focus on your form. Remember, this is about isolating those delts and making them work for every ounce of growth. Chapter 5. The Progressive Overload Principle. Don't just show up, step up. Alright guys, let's talk about one of the most important principles in muscle growth: progressive overload. This isn't just about lifting heavy, it's about consistently challenging your muscles to grow. I see so many people hitting the gym week after week, doing the same exercises with the same weight, and then wondering why they're not seeing results. It's like they expect their muscles to magically grow from sheer willpower alone. But here's the cold, hard truth. Your muscles adapt, they get used to the stress you put on them. So if you want to keep making gains, you need to keep pushing them beyond their comfort zone. That means gradually increasing the weight you lift, the reps you perform, or the difficulty of the exercises. Even small increments of progress add up over time. Start tracking your workouts, noting down the weight, reps, and sets. Then, each week, aim to beat your previous performance, even if it's just by a small margin. Remember, consistency is key. Chapter 6. Volume, the unsung hero of muscle growth. Now let's talk about volume, another crucial factor in muscle growth that often gets overlooked. Volume simply refers to the total amount of work you're doing for a particular muscle group. And when it comes to building those cannonball shoulders, you need to make sure you're doing enough volume to stimulate growth. Now, I'm not saying you need to spend hours on end hammering your shoulders every single day, but you do need to find that sweet spot. The right amount of volume that challenges your muscles without pushing you into overtraining territory. A good starting point is to aim for around 9 to 12 sets per week for your shoulders. Now, this is just a general guideline, and the optimal volume may vary, depending on your individual factors like training experience, genetics, and recovery capacity. But if you've been stuck at a plateau, bumping up your volume could be just the thing you need to break through. Remember, it's about finding what works best for you and your body. Alright, let's talk about nutrition because you can't build a Greek god physique on empty calories. If you're serious about packing on muscle, you need to be in a calorie surplus. That means consuming more calories than you burn. Think of it this way, your body needs raw materials to build muscle tissue, and those materials come from the food you eat. If you're not eating enough, you're basically starving your muscles of the nutrients they need to grow. Now I'm not saying you should go out and start eating everything in sight. You still need to make healthy food choices and focus on nutrient-dense foods. But you also need to make sure you're eating enough to support muscle growth. A good starting point is to aim for a calorie surplus of around 5 to 8% above your maintenance level. This means if you need 2,500 calories per day to maintain your weight, you'd increase that to around 2,625 to 2,700 calories for muscle growth. Remember, food is fuel. Now let's talk about protein, the macronutrient that's absolutely essential for muscle growth and repair. You see, when you lift weights, you're actually creating tiny tears in your muscle fibers, and it's the protein you eat that provides the building blocks your body needs to repair those tears and build those fibers back stronger and bigger. So, if you're not eating enough protein, you're basically shortchanging your gains. Now, how much protein do you need? Well, a good rule of thumb is to aim for around 0.73 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day. So if you weigh 180 pounds, that means you should be shooting for around 131 grams of protein per day. Now you can get your protein from a variety of sources like lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, dairy products, beans, lentils, and tofu. Just make sure you're spreading your protein intake throughout the day to maximize muscle protein synthesis. There you have it, guys. We've just uncovered the most common shoulder training mistakes that are holding you back from achieving those sculpted cannonball shoulders you've always wanted. Remember, building an impressive physique isn't about taking shortcuts or relying on magic pills. It's about hard work, dedication, and most importantly, doing things the right way. By avoiding these common mistakes and implementing the tips we've discussed today, you're setting yourself up for success in the gym. Remember to focus on full range of motion, prioritize your shoulder workouts, don't neglect those side and rear delts, tame those pesky traps, and embrace the power of progressive overload. And of course, don't forget to fuel your body with the right nutrition, including plenty of protein to support muscle growth. Now go out there, crush your workouts, and build those head-turning shoulders you've always dreamed of. Alright guys, there you have it. 9 critical mistakes that are probably sabotaging your shoulder gains. But listen, now that you know better, you can do better. Remember, knowledge is power, and now you have the power to transform those shoulders from average to athletic. So, no more excuses. It's time to take action. Incorporate what you've learned today into your next shoulder workout. Focus on proper form, mind-muscle connection, and progressive overload. And most importantly, be consistent. Building a great physique takes time and effort, but trust me, the results are well worth it. Now get out there and start building those cannonball shoulders.